Welcome to the Envelopes Emmy Contender Series. I'm Yvonne Villarreal, and today we're talking to Betty Gilpin, who plays Debbie from the TV series Glow. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're both in bronze. Yes, and we just talked yesterday, so I won't go over the same topics, obviously. But
it's fine.
Well, so when you get the script or hear about Glow, what's your initial reaction?
My first reaction, I think, was trying to protect myself from not getting the part, like the vulnerability. I just immediately wanted it so badly and felt so connected to this person that I was like, let's walk back our expectations on this. And I really thought that my audition process would be probably statistically the only time I would get to have this character, live in my life. And so I tried to treat it like a fling with this character instead of like really trying to get this part in a strange way. The dream was so crazy and felt so perfect and insane that I was,
So you weren't daunted by the wrestling aspect?
No, I wasn't. I mean, well, when we got the pilot, there's only wrestling at the end. So, and I didn't know how much we would actually be doing that. I assumed, they'll just have stunt women for the actresses. Mm-hmm. Whoever gets this part is going to have a stunt person. But no, we did it all. And it hurts so much. But I love it. I love it so much.
Well, so how much of it was convincing yourself that you could do this part, or how much of it was convincing others you were right for this part?
I mean, I don't know. I knew Liz Flahav and Carly Mensch, who created our show, from Nurse Jackie. We worked together for 3 years on that show. So I knew that they knew that inside the aging pop star shell was like the boo lady from Princess Bride. Yes. They knew that was me at my core. So I didn't feel, some auditions you feel like you need to grab people by the collar and be like, this is who I really am inside and no one can see it. But I kind of knew that they already knew that. So I was like, let's just make weird faces and have fun. And Alison Brie and I auditioned together 3 times, I think. And so having her to play off of that whole time was a great distraction. It didn't feel like all the weight was kind of like, my name's Betty. It was kind of like we're in this together, rooting for each other.
Well, how was the what role did the wrestling aspect sort of play in getting the cast together or setting a foundation for the cast?
I mean, it was an amazing experience, really. Usually when you meet your co-stars, you've gone through 2 hours of hair and makeup and it's the first day and you're presenting the final product of, you're filming and it's the final results. Like, it's no rehearsal, there's no practice. It's like you meet people the day that you're presenting the final result, and in crazy costumes tailored within an inch of your life and full hair and makeup. And wrestling, we did a month of wrestling before we started shooting. And conversely, in Glow, the first day we met each other, we were in no makeup or hair and in basically our pajamas, being like, I guess we're somersaulting today. So it was kind of like a feminist Montessori way to get to know each other instead of the opposite. So it was, we were like holding each other's armpits and butts before we knew each other's last names. And it was kind of a beautiful precedent for how we treated each other and knew each other.
Was that the first time in your career you've been in the presence of so many women? On a show?
I mean, I was used to being in the presence of that many women in waiting rooms for auditions, all auditioning for the one girl part. Most of my best friends in New York are girls I met in waiting rooms, being like, none of us are ever getting this, but they've got an offer out to, Toddlers and Tiaras girl number 5. I sort of had unity in there being so few spots, and to have 15 spots and 15 women in the job was a huge change, but so much ridiculous, insane fun. It's crazy. It's crazy. Every day is crazy.
But it is very fun on set. I was there for the finale of the first season when you guys have the match and just everyone in the costumes and all huddled around together between takes. It was really,
I mean, usually, like, you know, a set is, or my experience was like you're sitting at a chair trying not to make too much noise, and the male lead is like, well, the reason I can't remember my lines is that the air conditioning is crazy. I'm like throwing stuff, and I was like, oh God, he's mad again. And this set was like, tell me about your childhood. I'm sorry, today I'm feeling a whole new world. Like over and over, like been 14 different people, and it was such a beautiful change.
But I remember even just seeing you guys in the ring, in leotards, totally not caring if there's a wedgie, totally not caring if there's jiggling happening, doing everything. Like, how empowering was that?
Yes, it's crazy. I mean, I remember, you know, I was not very super body comfortable before Glow, and after that experience, the difference of how I felt episode 1 and episode 10, we're all lying around with our cellulite featured and, you know, jiggles and wiggles galore, and we kind of celebrate it. We're like, oh, I had a really good wedgie in that shot.
Do you think that would have been the case had it not been so heavily female focused, like in front of and behind the scenes?
No. I have wasted a lot of wide shots in other jobs just being conscious, like, oh, in this one they can see my body. Oh, I don't like the way I had this to eat at breakfast, and why did I do that? My costume so tight. Okay, and we're through. Okay, now we're here, and I can get to the acting part. And this job, because my body was the primary function of my body in this job is to do powerful things. I was not thinking of it in a male gaze way, and so it made me feel like I was Debbie from head to toe instead of Debbie from here to here and Betty from here to there. Yeah.
How was it actually doing those moves and being in that ring, like the energy that gives you?
It's crazy. I mean, I had never done a sport before at all. I mean, you could do theater as a sport in my high school, and I, you know, was crying through Shakespeare plays while everyone else was like using their heart muscle. I mean, you know, I never understood it. I remember being like stoned in club softball, being like, I don't get it. Why do people care about winning? And then the first time that I body slammed Allie Brie and the crowd screamed, people who were being paid to scream. I felt like I had shot glitter heroin into my eyes. I was like, why aren't I in the Olympics? Why wasn't I training since age 2? It's the craziest, most amazing feeling. But then doing a 16-hour day of that,
I was gonna say, what toll did that take on your body?
Massive toll. Labral tear in my hip, got banged up pretty bad in my head. I mean, you know, and we're doing like actress wrestling. I can't. The actual wrestling is, you know, Olympic level, but it hurts. It feels like 100 fender benders over and over and over again. And even though it's staged, wrestling is, I mean, you're slamming your bones and muscles into the ground. That mat is not
I was going to say,
soft.
What does it feel like?
It feels like cement. It's not a pillow.
Yeah, it's not a pillow.
Nope.
And being thrown against the ring, the ropes?
The ropes, we all get a bruise right here from this move. And they say attack the ropes. Nothing looks lamer than when you're like, but it also is very sad, things where you're like, oh, let me watch that back, because I was like 10 feet in the air. And where you feel like, ah, and you watch it back and it's like, oh, it's not as badass as I thought. But it feels, anyway, yeah.
What were your impressions of wrestling before doing the show, and how did it change as?
I mean, I definitely wasn't a fan, not that I was an anti-wrestling
Right.
person, but I would see it channel flipping and be like, oh, I'm embarrassed. And I didn't understand it. But I totally get it now. It's so theatrical. It's so, it's very kind of like ancient Greek theater, like good versus evil, you know, playing to the mezzanine. And I feel like so much of life right now and things that are being made, there's always like a wink or irony to it, or kind of like there's a too cool aspect. And there is no winking happening in wrestling. It's like the truest form of, I don't know, good
They're
versus
very
evil.
committed to
yes,
it.
so committed.
Very
and there's
committed.
no like,
Yeah.
this guy's crazy, right? As he's playing him, he's like, my gimmick is that I have a diaper on my head and I'm passionate about it. Yeah.
Did you watch, I think you mentioned you watched Total Divas, but I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love Total Divas. But again, what they can do is they probably like roll their eyes at us because we're like on press tours about like, I can do a somersault backwards and the bravery it takes to do that. And they're like, I can do a backflip from the sky.
From the sky, exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to take some questions from social media.
Oh, great.
A fan on Twitter asks, you've mentioned using Real Housewives as inspiration on Glow for both Debbie and Liberty Bell. What housewives would you say Carrie Roman on Nurse Jackie was?
Oh, I would say there's definitely some Vanderpump in there, like a kind of sleepy drag queen aspect to it, kind of like I would be, you know, ruling Versailles right now, but I'm also just too sleepy at this point. And, you know, I always kind of like to pepper in like just a sprinkling of Ramona Singer. Let's keep the crazy in
It can
there.
only
Like,
be a sprinkling with
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like, you know, yes, only a sprinkling.
Yes.
But that inner sort of hamster wheel of pure insanity.
A fan asks, what can we look forward to in terms of the Debbie-Ruth relationship? Can it ever be fixed?
Oh boy, I hope so. I mean, Allie and I will screenshot songs that we're listening to and text each other being like, maybe this is like season 5, they're running towards each other sobbing in an airport, or like at a funeral they clasp hands to this song. But I don't know.
There's some intense moments in season 2.
Yes.
But I feel like anything is a spoiler right now.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'll just say intense moments.
Yes, super intense
But
moments.
what did you
Super
think?
intense moments.
Super intense.
Yeah.
What did you think of the handling of that relationship? Because it could have been very one-dimensional, like Ruth is sleeping with Debbie's husband, and
Yeah.
it could have just been a straight-up sort of catfight type of relationship. But talk about what we really see with this dynamic.
Well, you know, I think you see, you know, it's funny that there's only really 1 or 2 scenes where you see them as friends before their friendship explodes. And so you sort of learn about their friendship after it's over in a way. And I think the glimpses of the dynamic of their past, it reveals 2 things, I think. That one, these women are connected on a soul level that's not so easily disposed of. I think that their friendship ran deeper than Debbie's marriage did. Even though what Ruth did was horrible, I think that, you know, Debbie wasn't faultless in their friendship. I think that, you know, I think a lot of ladies understand like being friends with an alpha friend who maybe is so kind of in their own world that they forget to ask you as many questions as you ask them. And I think that was probably their dynamic, that Debbie was kind of like in the clouds a little bit and Ruth was lonely and struggling. And I bet Debbie could have been there more for her. Not that she deserved, but yeah.
Another question, what's another Netflix show you would like to be on?
Ooh, I've been really into Altered Carbon. I was really into that book, and for those who haven't seen, it's a show set in the future where bodies are sleeves, and you know you can be kind of downloaded into a different body, and that's sometimes a lot of the way I think about acting, like, you know, what, especially if you feel disconnected to your body or not comfortable in your body, if you think of it as like the shell of a character or something, and inside you're Ramona Singer or whatever. And so I was like, oh, that Altered Carbon is kind of like an externalized version of how I think about acting in a weird sci-fi way. So yeah.
Intense.
Yes, super intense.
Could you, like on the acting front, like could you identify with Debbie or even Ruth's sort of journey in terms of making it as a working actor?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely on the Ruth side of things. In a lot, I mean, well, I relate a lot to what Debbie struggles with in terms of, you know, sometimes being treated like a replaceable Barbie when she's like, I have a weird clown idea. And they're like, no one wants your weird clown idea, sweetie. But, you know, I have been working as an actor for 12 years, I think. And, you know, I don't know how many auditions I've been on, but I've had a lot of close calls and heartbreaks. And I think when I was auditioning for Glow, I just, you know, it's hard to get that out of your head when so many times it's felt like, ooh, this is it. This is the one. This is me on the page. All my dreams are coming true. Like in the movie montage of my life, like I get this part. Obviously, it's literally me. And then it doesn't happen, and then your agents are like, we have a request for you to audition for a diarrhea commercial. And you're like, could you put a day between my dream not coming true? Sure. What kind of person do they? And then they're like, it's not going further on the diarrhea commercial. And you're like, no.
Now I want to know, what's the weirdest audition you've gone on?
Oh boy. I auditioned for Alien vs. Predator 2, and there was no scene. I just had to enter a room. I mean, it was like a room like this, but pretend I was by a pool, mime disrobing, and then in take one, just mime it. So,
Yeah.
And then in take one, I had to look up and see Alien. And then so in take two, I just mime disrobing and look up and see Predator. And just to make them different. And that's when you just place your dignity in a little bucket over there. And I didn't get it. And that tape exists somewhere. And I like, still I'll be falling asleep at night and be like, that tape, it's somewhere, oh God. But I mean, there have been so many. Yeah.
Well, so when you're on a show like this, is there sort of like no going back to stuff like that where you're like, I've experienced it, I know something exists like this that is worthy of...
Yeah, but this is such a unicorn that like I would never work again if I was like, only female empowerment projects where I get to be a gravitas clown from now on.
Yeah.
They'd be like, well,
Good
maybe
luck.
you'll do a restoration comedy when you're 72. But until then, I mean, there are certain things that I'm like, I won't put up with this anymore. But, you know, I spent the day yesterday feeling very fancy and doing press and, you know, having like the best hair and makeup people work on me and like really pretty clothes. And then at night I was in my hotel room making an audition tape for something, you know, with all the hotel furniture stacked up and like my iPhone taped on a thing and then my recorded voice being like, but Sally, hello. And me being like, hello, John. And trying to, like, turning on every lamp to, like, erase the years of hard living in my, like, and it's, you know, it's a very strange dance. Like, sometimes, you know, you feel like your dreams are coming true, and then the next moment.
And then there's a reality check sometimes.
Then you're, like, desperate puppet number 6 again.
Well, how about... Well, I mean, for all the fun and camp of the show, like, what's great about it is there's social undertones that are still sort of playing out today as much as they did in the 80s. Was that sort of the appeal for you to like really look at these types of things?
I mean, yeah, you know, I feel very fortunate to work on a show where I really like talking about the issues that it deals with, but I mean, that's kind of a huge coincidence. Like, I tried really hard to be on shows where I don't know what I would say on the press tour for being like, yes, I'm passionate about Alaskan hospital cruise tornado.
Yeah.
If now more than ever, we need it. But no, it's just a coincidence. I'll do anything.
Let's take another question from a fan. I'm a big fan of the show. Did you watch the Glow documentary that was also on Netflix?
Yeah, I did. When I got the part, I watched the documentary and was like, whoa. There's a section where they talk about their injuries, and a bone goes through someone's skin, and it's disgusting. But I also really related to a lot of what they were talking about. You know, a lot of these women, you know, they were, them describing being on Glow, I was like, oh, that's what it feels like to be an actress sometimes, where you think you're like, oh, I'm using my 5-year-old self and my imagination, and like the hidden parts of me that no one sees because I've come up with this weird gimmick, and also I'm doing powerful things with my body and using it in a powerful way. And because I'm blonde with big tits, it's viewed through the male gaze first. And I'm like, oh, that was a monologue about being a lawyer in a small town. And they're like, nice tits.
Right,
like,
right.
But wait. And that is a lot of what I got in the Glow documentary, that these women were kind of like, you know, you look out in the audience and it's a lot of men watching it like, ugh. And, you know, I think they thought they were doing it for kids and for other women, which they also were, but it's just...
Primarily.
Yeah. Yes.
How would you say the wrestling informed your acting, either on Glow or outside of Glow in other parts?
I think that it definitely made me think of my body in a different way, in terms of it's the functional minivan that's driven me around town for 31 years, instead of like, obliques and nipples, please give me a job.
Yeah.
It's actually like my knees and my, you know, thighs and my ankles, the things that have supported me and walked me into rooms I was scared to walk into. And so I have more respect for my body now, and have incorporated my body into characters more now than I used to.
Well, how would you describe Debbie, and how would you describe Liberty Bell, and how are they the same?
Debbie, you know, we talk a lot about how there's so much gray area in real life, and wrestling is so black and white. And I think that Debbie, while she has so many things that she's maybe like very confident in or a little self-righteous about, she also is afraid and unsure of a lot of things. I think that what happened with Ruth and becoming a mother, I think both kind of like pulled the rug out from her identity-wise, and sort of, I mean, you know, when you know someone whose kind of identity is based on having the answers and telling you how it is and having status in a conversation, and then when that person's life circumstances don't reflect that, it kind of feels like a Frankenstein-y person of like, I have the answer, I don't know what's going on. And I think Debbie's kind of like that. And then Liberty Bell is, I mean, Blanche Dubois on a tricycle, like eating fireworks. I think that, you know, I tried to base her on beauty queens. Like, I watched a lot of women accepting crowns and like the crazy that's in their eyes. You know, she's kind of like, I don't know, a combination of Toddlers and Tiaras and Blanche Dubois.
What can you say about what we'll see from her in season 2?
From Liberty Bell?
From both.
Oh, well, you see a lot more Liberty Bell in season 2, for sure. Oh my God. Being Liberty Bell for a 16-hour day, let me tell you, the smile falls when the trailer door closes. It is exhausting. I was like, why did I make these choices that are so hard to sustain? Like the entrance walk is, that hurts more than wrestling. So yeah, Liberty Bell is completely off the rails, and Debbie's also off the rails. I don't like playing stable people. I asked Liz and Carly, I was like, can there never be a season where like Debbie's taking vitamins and doing great? They're like, that will never happen.
That will never happen.
Yeah.
Well, how have the moves intensified as well?
Oh my God. Well, we, in the first month of season 1, when we were training, we started with somersaults and then ended with body slams and suplexes. And this year, our training month, they were like, all right, let's brush up on body slams and suplexes and keep building. We're like, what? So it's way crazier. It's crazy. And I definitely, drank the Kool-Aid if I was like, I'm a wrestler now. And then I would try some stuff and be like, I'm an actress. And I'm not my parents. Yeah.
Are you so over the frosted leggings or nylons?
No, they're like
love them?
Spanx. It's like keeps everything in place.
But when you're doing all that, it's not super uncomfortable?
No. Crazily no. I mean, peeing is difficult because I've got like the leather corset over the velour thing, and then Capezio tights, and then like my underwear, I'm like around my ankle, and then like a microphone that's like, it's crazy.
So it's like,
takes
it's
like
a
15
process.
minutes to pee, for sure. Yes.
Process.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to end things with a lightning round, if you don't mind.
I prefer not to do. It's against my religion to do lightning rounds.
Last show you binge watched.
Okay, last show I binge watched. The Crown. I did a movie in Winnipeg, which, no offense to Winnipeg, is kind of like Soviet Cleveland, and I was inside a lot, and I watched 2 seasons of The Crown in like 4 days, and I was like walking around being like, hello, hello. Hello.
Do you get obsessive? Like, do you research after watching each one?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. The constant Googling and stuff. And it coincided very well with the royal wedding. So I was kind of like, very obsessed.
If you could go back and be on any TV show ever, what would it be?
Holy Lord. I mean, I would be a houseplant on I Love Lucy for sure. Just to see her do her thing. Yeah. Definitely.
It's my favorite answer ever. A lot of people watch TV to unwind. What do you do to unwind?
Hard drugs. What do I do to unwind? I watch TV. I live in New York, so I go for long walks, and I like that the people I pass in New York don't care about show business at all. That's nice and relaxing.
Yes. What do you know now that you wish you knew on your first acting job?
What do I know? Oh, I wish I knew that no one else is thinking about like the shape of your ears or sound of your voice as much as you are, and that your self-critique is actually taking up way more space in the room than if you just were kinder to yourself, and you would be better if you were just nicer to yourself.
Thank you. I'm going to apply that to myself, even though I don't act.
It's such an easy change. Yes. It's all better now. I don't do it
all
anymore.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you so
talking
much.
to you.
Thank you.
For all of you, if you want to check out more of our Emmy chats, head over to latimes.com.